When I was a kid growing up in Atlanta, I guess it would have been considered the suburbs once upon a time. Not really sure what they'd call it now, but in any event, there was always a couple of characters around town that were had some recognition and reputation uh, as very popular and well received and seen very, very often times. A couple of characters that I'd like to tell you about. And the first is a guy who was known as the Birdman of Buckhead. And this gentleman, and I use the term gentleman because I was probably 6 or 7 years old the first time I saw him. And I was struck, even though he was in white gym shorts and a white T-shirt, and always was every time I saw him. He had the air of a gentleman. I don't know what to attribute that to at my age, but he rode around the streets of Buckhead on a vintage 1950s model Schwinn cruiser, and oftentimes flapped his arms in the wind like a bird would while riding his bike up and down the streets of Buckhead. He had such a presence and such a prominence in that community that there was a full page write-up about him when he passed away, and he was legendary. People knew him everywhere. But nobody really knew the story. So that's the story of the Birdman of Buckhead, the flying Birdman on his 1950s vintage Schwinn cruiser in the streets of Buckhead in Atlanta, Georgia, during the 60s, 70s, and probably even the 80s. I don't know. But I definitely saw him in the 70s and throughout all my formative years. And he was a really, really cool guy, and I always smiled when I got to see him on the streets. Fun memory with my family and my mom.